but it wasn't that.
Is it the main? Is it A cam or A cam?
Uh,
It doesn't matter. Which one should I look
so the
This is you. This is you.
at? Is this me?
This is both.
Sounds good.
you can look at me too, though.
I'll look at you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't worry, I'll look at you, man.
All right, cool. All right, so we are live. Hey, Ty, so we live? Okay.
45 seconds in.
Oh, perfect. It's always the best stuff at the
Yeah.
beginning. So, dude, glad to have you here. We were on Zoom like 2 days
days
ago, and
ago,
you were somewhere else. Where
Yeah.
were you?
I was in Chicago with the family.
And where do you live?
I'm a nomad now. I used to live in where you were from, actually, Vancouver, Canada.
Mm-hmm.
I lived there for 4 years, but I was born and raised in Malaysia.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, what's your citizenship? Like, if you
Yeah.
are you allowed to post up in the U.S.? Like, where are you allowed to live?
Yeah. So I'll tell you my quick little backstory. I think it's pretty fun. So when I was growing up as you can tell, Asian kid.
Oh wait, you're Asian?
Yeah, I know,
Oh,
right? Two very traditional Asian parents, especially my mom. I call her the tiger mom,
'Kay.
traditional tiger mom. Straight A's, perfect grades, and everything. Growing up in Malaysia, I was really stressed out to the point where at 12, 13, I was looking for ways to leave my family, like physically. I just couldn't take it, right? Like it was so much pressure, so much perfection I needed to be. And funny story, like at 15, there were these little booths that came from all over the world, like university booths or college booths, admission booths, right? And like one thing about Malaysia you got to know is that the currency exchange to any other country, like the US dollar or the pound, it's much lower. So I was looking at all these university booths, and I'm like, I don't know what I can afford to go anywhere overseas, right? But I was like, I might as well have a conversation. Spoke to this one community college near Seattle, Washington. And it turns out that what I found now, well, it's common here in the U.S., but a community college is like the most affordable thing you can get into. That's not like a public, four-year university or private school, right? And so I was like,
you don't want to go to community college here.
I
in
guess
US.
not.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I was from, but I was like, that was my only way out.
Mm.
So I was like begging my mom, my dad. My dad was cool, but I was 16 back then. So my mom was like hesitant, right? But you know what I did to convince her? I said, Mom, if you let me go to the U.S., I'll be a doctor. So look where I'm at. Look where I'm at right now, right? Yeah. Anyway,
Looks nice, by the way. I like it.
Thank you.
What material is that? It's like
I don't even know, but my wife picks out. That's the amazing thing of having a wife, right? She's your personal stylist and wardrobe person. But but I did study. Like I came to the U.S. at 16. I wanted to study to be a doctor. That didn't work out, obviously. And when I was 19, 3 years later, there was this really interesting program that popped up from the U.S. military, specifically the U.S. Army. So it was called the MAVNI program, Military Accessions Vital to National Interest.
Okay.
And what they were looking for were two types of people. One group were medical professionals, like a doctor or nurse.
just like your future.
Right, but I clearly wasn't at 19, so I could only get into by the second group, which was people that could speak a foreign language.
Mm.
So long story short, I picked up Indonesian. It's similar to Malay, my I guess like a native language.
Malay wasn't on the list.
It was on the list, but the funny story was it was harder because it was a more formal language. Indonesian is like the more casual language of Malay.
Oh, interesting.
They're very similar. It's like I don't even know what languages I could. It's like, I guess, yeah. You know what? I guess it's like American English versus like
Canadian
British
English.
English. Yeah, Canadian English. Yeah. So I barely passed. I got in, and the crazy thing was within 8 months, I went from a Malaysian passport to my U.S. naturalization certificate. So I became
Wow.
a U.S. citizen in 8 months. Unheard of, right? No green card, no visa, nothing. So that's how I became a U.S. citizen. That's
Yeah,
the
very
story.
very cool, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, I love that. I became a citizen about a month ago. I got my citizenship.
Congratulations.
Thanks,
dude.
man. So
What about your Canadian one?
yeah, no,
Dual, you're
my-
dual, right?
Yeah, dual now.
Okay,
yeah.
nice. Yeah, I'm about to get my Canadian one.
Oh, you are?
Yeah, I got my
Nice, man.
PR in Canada, but I need 6 more months though.
Of
So I'll
living
find
there.
it. I'll find it one day. Yeah.
So, with that being said, then is your wife also a nomad, or where does she
Yeah,
stay?
yeah. So we're both nomads, and it's pretty cool. Like we both met because of the U.S. Army. So she was also in the same program as a South Korean speaker.
Oh, wow.
So we met in the Army, and we met in ROTC or ROTC, which is like a university commissioning program for officers. So we had the same security clearance issue because we were foreigners before. And to be an officer in the army, you needed a secret clearance at least.
Sure.
But because of our background, we couldn't get it. So we met on a Facebook group online, like an army Facebook group online. So that's how we met.
So with that then, like they typically have a length of time you have to stay in
Yes.
for them.
Yeah.
What was that length of time, and then how did you transition out?
Yeah. So the service.
Yeah.
Typically, every army contract is 8 years. People typically do active duty, which is 4 years active. And then 4 years, we call it inactive ready reserve. Basically, you don't do anything. You're just 4 years
You're on
inactive.
call if you ever
Right.
need- yeah.
But I did the reserve and the National Guard route. Basically, we call it, some people make fun of us. They call us the weekend warriors.
Okay.
We basically drill every once a month on the weekend. And that is 6 years plus 2. So instead of 4 plus 4, it's 6 plus 2. So we did the 6-year one.
It's interesting. It's almost like you like reverse engineered your path to come to the United States or to actually live here in
Yeah.
the shortest amount of time.
Yeah, I guess, you know what they say about if you believe in the law of attraction or the
Sure.
secret or God or universe, I think you could, well, they call it life by design, right? You could design your life. And I think it was a little bit of that early on when I didn't really know much about it.
So that was how you came to the United States.
Yes.
And so now you're a citizen. You can live wherever you want to live.
Yes, sir.
What has made you not want to post up in a city? For me, like when I came to the United States I came to Las Vegas in 2016 for the first time,
Nice.
and I stayed at a hotel that isn't the best hotel. It's called the Rio. It's down by the Strip.
Okay, yeah.
Penn and Teller
Yeah,
do their
familiar. Yeah.
and I said I stayed in a room with like 8 people or 9 people, like one room. We're all here for like an event, and
Wait, all Canadians?
yeah.
Oh,
All
from
Canadians.
Vancouver?
Yeah, we drove down from actually I was
Wait.
in Calgary at the time.
You drove down.
Dude.
Really?
In the snow, like in a truck. We're sliding, like, dude. It was like 9 people packed in a car.
You guys just didn't want to fly?
I think it was like
Just fun, adrenaline.
No, I think it was like hey, let's save money, let's go
Oh.
efficient, like
Wow.
or I don't even remember
Yeah,
why.
yeah, yeah,
A flight
yeah.
ticket is come
Yeah,
on, like,
flight
well,
ticket's
yeah, it's
probably
not that much.
not that much.
So I say I'm never coming back here.
Okay.
And then flash forward, girl comes in the picture, other stuff, dude. I ended up moving to Vegas, and anyways, point being is that Vegas has now become a place that I've seen the power of. I've never stayed in a city for more than like a year, outside of
Gotcha.
Vancouver where I grew up.
Gotcha.
And so, but here I've been here for like 4.5 years now. I built a pretty dope network.
Yeah.
So you're probably missing out on a lot of potential opportunity by not being in one place.
Correct.
Do you agree or disagree with that?
Yeah, actually, I think it depends on where you're posted up. For example, I spent 4 years in Vancouver. More than half of that was as an employee of Dan Lok. So when I was employed by Dan, I didn't really have to network. I was just going to Dan's office and working, right? But when I left Dan and I started my own business, and I was in Vancouver for a good year and a half, I really didn't feel like I could do much business in Vancouver because I was always flying to Florida and Vegas.
Seeing how real business is done.
And I was always flying to Miami, right? And Orlando and Tampa and Vegas. I was like, okay, well then there really isn't a need to be in Vancouver right now at this stage of my life. So we were posted in Vancouver, but we chose to, like, I guess, uproot and move. Right? And now we're sort of on that hunt for like where is that place we'll be posted in. But I will say Vancouver is beautiful. When we have kids, we'll probably go back and settle in Vancouver. We love Vancouver. Yeah.
It is a great city. I felt very similar to that, where it's like, where's the hustle culture? Where's people aren't really grinding out here.
No.
So you mentioned Dan Lok, right? You went there to work with him. How did you get connected with him originally? What was the transition? Why?
So another funny story. So when I was now I was 19 and I was
how old are you now?
27. Oh, 28 this year. Oh gosh.
Have you turned 28 already?
No, in May. Yeah, I keep saying I'm 27. But when I was this was like when I was like 21. This was 21. Yeah, so 21. Remember how I told you I met my wife in the army?
Mm-hmm.
So I finished my army training, and I just graduated from university. I had my 4-year degree, and I became a commissioned officer. So I was like excited, but I was part time, so I had to look for a full-time job. I ended up moving from Seattle, Washington, to Carbondale, Illinois, to be with my, then girlfriend, now wife. And I was moving to this brand new city, brand new town. I didn't know nobody. If you don't know what Carbondale is,
like, does anybody know what Carbondale is?
Yeah, but like imagine, like, I don't even know how. I guess Edmonton might be more developed, way more developed than Carbondale. To be fair, it's like in the middle of nowhere, like the boonies, right?
Okay.
And no family, no friends. I was alone. My girlfriend then, she went on army training for 5 weeks, so she was gone. I was alone in an apartment 5 weeks, completely jobless, alone. And I was on Facebook all the time because I had nothing else to do. Back then, I wasn't an entrepreneur. I wasn't in personal development. I was just trying to make money, trying to survive, right? I kept saying this guy in a red suit, this Asian dude, right? Back in 2018, you know where this is going. I was like, this guy must be a scammer. This Asian dude, kind of funny English, telling me to become a high-ticket closer and make 6 figures online. So I ignored that for 2 weeks. But halfway through that, I was so lonely and bored. One night at 2 a.m, the ad popped up.
While most guys are doing other things at 2 a.m. in the morning on their phone.
I was laying on the bed. Yeah, exactly. Laying on the bed, looking at Dan Lok, right?
Okay.
Yeah. I
Strange.
clicked on that webinar. I watched that webinar.
Was it a live webinar?
No, it was evergreen. But probably back then I thought it was live. I didn't know it better, right?
Okay.
By the end of that, I took the only credit card I had that I didn't have any money on. Like it's just a open balance, right? And I just swiped $2,500 for his high ticket closer program. That was it. June 2018.
Okay.
That's how I bought Dan's course.
So interesting. So you bought Dan's course, and you can go into detail, but long story short, was he a scam?
So this is interesting. I mean, like this, right? Like it depends who you ask. If you ask anybody, is Tony Robbins a scam? Is Grant Cardone a scam? It really depends who you ask. For me personally, here's what I can say, and I'll be very objective, right? I'll come from a very objective point of view. Dan is a master at teaching mindset and personal development. He's a very good self-help guru. Very, very good. An awesome marketer too. So if you want to learn marketing, copy and model of Dan's stuff. But when it comes to teaching actual sales skills, not really. Right? There's a lot better people that can teach better sales training. But I did manage to make my first 6 figures doing high ticket closing my first year. So did it work? It worked for me. But I'm a small percentage of the 10,000 people that probably invested in the program, But yeah, it really depends who you ask.
Yeah, that's a good good thing, a good question to ask, because sometimes you'll see posts about Grant Cardone, and he has a massive fan base, people that love and adore him. It changed his life. Then they got, and Tony Robbins, same thing.
Haters.
Exactly.
But you're never gonna, they always say, right? You have to have haters, right? Like in the game, you just have to. You can't please everybody. No one's gonna love you. People are gonna judge. People are gonna hate. People are gonna be jealous.
Sure.
Right.
I think sometimes though it's like there's some people have the nature where they want to please everybody.
Right.
And so then the haters, this is why a lot of people don't live up to their full potential, is the moment they're hit with the first sign of adversity, they close up, they fail, they shut down.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you remember your first hate comment on social media?
Yeah. You know what my most popular hate comment is now? So it's so you know the app Wish, right?
Yeah. Oh.
Right. So but dude, there's an app even worse than Wish. You know what it is?
Timu,
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So they say, wow, this is Leonardo DiCaprio, but on Timu.
That's so messed up, bro. That's so
dude, there's all these.
Hey, but at least you look like Leonardo DiCaprio,
I know,
right?
but the fat version apparently is what they say. So
funny,
someone said Leo really
Wish.
let himself go.
Yeah.
So but yeah, dude, it happens, right? You just gotta laugh it off.
Yeah, no, for sure.
What about you? You remember your first hate comment?
Yeah, a lot of so in the beginning, when I first quit Dan and I was still in the military, I had this really, if you look at my old photos, I have this really like short cut with the hair just like combed to the side, but like literally everything here was shaved.
It looked good. I saw it.
No, but people were like, what the F is wrong with your hair? Literally every hate comment was like, dude, you got the worst hair. Like, who's your barber? Fire your barber. It was so funny, bro. It was all about the hair.
Memorable. Maybe you should stick with that.
I guess. Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
But okay, so you bought Dan Lok's program. How do you go from swiping $2,500, your only $2,500 on your credit card, to flying out to Vancouver? And what did he make everyone call him? Shifu or something like that?
Seafood Dan. Yeah, I called him Seafood Dan for like 4 years. We all did. Yeah. So how did I go from that? Okay. So when this, again, keep in mind, 21, 22-year-old guy, first time in this sort of guru coaching world, first time doing self-development. And I was taught by Dan, empty your cup, be a sponge, right? Learn everything you can. So I was all in this like Sifu, positive mindset, gratitude. I was like in that thing. I was like in that mindset for like 6 to 9 months, right? All in. Didn't question a single thing. And I think, to be honest though, that did help me stay really focused. Because if I had any doubt that this wasn't gonna work for me, I probably wouldn't be here right now. Right? So I guess it was good that I was kind of naive. I guess it was good that I was kind of, like it was my first time into this whole guru world. I didn't know any better. Right? I didn't even know who Ty Lopez was back then, I just stuck with Dan. So I basically practiced, like, the closing. Like, I sucked at the role plays in the beginning. I was literally called out by, like, the coaches in the program, like, Joel, you suck. You have no tonality. You sound like a robot. You sound scripted. So I just worked my way through it. Like, I started doing cold calling. I was a setter first. I got rejected thousands of times, right? Like, I still have a recording to this day from one of my first sales calls. It was so bad. Like, I played some of my trainings, a webinar. I played my first call. But, like, I've come a long way. But I think how I got to Dan was I just got better. And he saw that I kept trying. And I think because he knew I was a commissioned officer in the U.S. Army, he wanted to give me a shot as, like, a sales manager at one point because I did really well as a closer. So I got better, right? I made my first 6 figures. Then he promoted me to become, like, the sales manager for his team. That's how it started. That's why I moved to Vancouver.
Okay, so you were doing remote remote closing for him?
From Carbondale, yeah.
And then what's the process? Did he file for paperwork? How do you actually, like, logistically go to Canada?
Yeah, great question. And I'm very thankful to Dan for this. I'm very blessed. I would say I'm very blessed, and I'm thankful to Dan because I moved to Vancouver December 2019, right before COVID shut us down in February 2020, right? So December 2019, before that, 7 months prior, I had moved up to Bellingham, Washington, because I was driving up and down every week from Bellingham to, like, West Vancouver, Bellingham to Vancouver. It was crazy. Did that for like 7 months. I guess he saw the dedication, right? And my wife, by the way, worked with Dan for the first 7 months too. So my wife and I both worked at Dan's company. So he saw our dedication. So, like, right before December 2019, before we did our paperwork, well, I guess you had to do it before, but in September 2019, they were like, okay. And I was, like, promoted to director by that point. So I was, like, on the executive team at, like, 22 and a half years old. They probably made a mistake doing that. But I was a director. So they, like, helped me get my, in the beginning, we got this, like, work visa, the working holiday visa. Working holiday for, like, 1 year. And then after I guess I did good in Vancouver, they applied for my BC PNP. So British Columbia Provincial Nominee Program to get my permanent residence in Canada. Then we did the whole process.
It's much easier to get Canadian status than US, I think.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I try to get a Canadian PR versus an American green card. This all day. Yeah.
Interesting. So that wasn't too long ago, right? And that was, Dan Lok was at that point getting called out. I think. Yeah. I think there was videos made of him.
Yep. CoffeeZilla was probably 2020, late 2020, early 21.
Okay, so that's after you'd been promoted and you're sales manager, right?
That was that was after. Yeah.
Were you still there at the company when that went down?
Yes.
So how did CoffeeZilla's video affect Dan Lok?
I think it affected him both emotionally, but I mean, this is just from what I can see, right? Like, looking at him, right, talking to him. Definitely affected the business because the sales team felt unnerved that we had, scam claims and reports. But I also think that kind of shifted Dan and the content he created, because if you remember back in 2018, even early 2019, he was very polarizing. Red suit, right? Screw the 9 to 5, right? Fox school, right? He was burning degrees, burning money, right? But I think after the CoffeeZilla video, for whatever reason, he toned down. He became more, like, professional, more corporate. He tried to go, like, instead of a red suit, he's like a typical traditional blue suit, double breast pocket. And, like, he just became a different, like, not a different person, but a different brand for sure. He tried to go, like, the more professional route. And I think, honestly, looking back, you could say from a marketing standpoint, that was probably a mistake. Because I think if Dan kept firm to his polarizing brand, he would have blown up. He probably would have got over that CoffeeZilla hump. But I think, like, if you look at Dan's brand today, it's a fragment of what it used to be.
Yeah,
it's a fragment of what it used to be, right?
Yeah, it's interesting because if you look at Dan, like, he was in the spotlight. He was running ads. I think with a coaching brand, there is certain ceilings that you'll touch.
Sure.
And I think he definitely touched that. But the thing that's really interesting with that is that if you look at Grant Cardone,
right?
Grant Cardone, CoffeeZilla's made tons of content.
Way more Grant. Yeah.
And Grant just leans into it.
Right.
Grant doesn't care.
Right. Exactly.
So is that the better thing to do?
Yeah, and this I'm glad you brought this up because like one thing that, not just me, but a lot of our team members noticed about Dan was when that was going down, we could literally feel Dan's like soul, like his person, like I think he got like punched in the gut kind of thing. Like, and I think it's because Grant Cardone, who you see on social media, is the same authentic person in person. Dan is not exactly like that. The Dan you see on camera is a different Dan than the Dan in person.
Oh, interesting.
So I think that was sort of an identity clash, or like why, like maybe he's feeling like, why y'all hating me when you don't know who the real me is, and maybe that was like maybe that hurt him. And this is just speculation, but I think that hurt him. Right? Where Grant could lean into it because Grant was authentic, I don't think Dan could at that point.
See, Paris Hilton came out and she said years ago, Paris Hilton is?
Yeah, well, no.
Childhood crush, maybe.
Who's Hilton? Yeah. What's Hilton?
So she came out and she said that when she was in the limelight, she created this like ultra personality, and this was the person that was out on stage and out doing all these events and stuff. And the reason why is because when that person got attacked, it wasn't an attack of her true self.
Oh, interesting.
Which is, I would argue, okay, you could do that, but with Grant, like he is who he is, and you can't break that. You're gonna catch him, even when he was doing drugs. You ever watch the Undercover Billionaire show?
Yeah. Watch it. He did great on that.
He did phenomenal.
He killed it. He killed it on the show.
$5 million running an agency.
Yeah.
But I think that like maybe Dan, there was something, his beingness, the person in him.
That's exactly it.
Went away.
That's exactly it. I think he felt a contradiction, like a conflict, and I think that caused him to hesitate. When you hesitate, you're done. Because you're not sure, right? Whereas, like you said, Grant was always sure in himself.
Yeah,
Grant always knew himself.
Grant acts like he thinks and acts like he's just like one, right?
Correct. But the moment you start questioning your identity or your marketing or your branding, that's the problem. That's when things go downhill.
Interesting. So Dan was obviously pivotal for you. You learned sales. That's like kind of been your last few years, kind of the core thing.
My bread and butter. Yeah.
Sure. So from an individual, I want to talk a little bit about sales coaching and how to build teams. But before we talk on that, I do want to hear like what makes an individual high producer on a sales team.
Oh, I'm glad you asked. I think, it's funny because like when I look back in the past 7 years of like running sales teams, the answer has changed a little bit each time as I get better and I get more mature, more experienced. But I think the common denominator never changes. And I can tell you a few common denominators that makes a top sales professional. Sure. I think the first thing is they just really have to like people. You just have to give a shit about people. I've seen a person that just cares about the bread, the money, but not a people person. And they do pretty good. They can still make 20, 25 grand a month, 30 grand a month. But when I see someone in the element, they love people and they're good at sales, not only do they make 25, 30, 40 grand a month, but they don't burn out. Versus someone like the first person, they start getting burnt out after a while, after 1 or 2 years. So I think the first thing is you have to be a people person. I do think that's important. That's mandatory, actually.
Sure.
The second thing about a top producer, in my opinion, is like in the Army, we call it grit, right? But I think you just got to be gritty. Like you will get rejected. You will fail. You will go through slumps. You will go through months and weeks where you don't close. You will go through rejection, right? But just being able to overcome that, they don't teach that in school, you see? And I think you can develop that, but I think a lot of it also has to do with you as a person. Like how did you grow up? How did your parents raise you? What was your upbringing, right? But then you can develop that grit. And then the last thing is being, no matter where you are in your sales career, no matter how good you think you are, that coachability and the belief, knowing that you're never the best and that there's levels to this game, right? I remember one time in my career, I had such a big ego. It's like, yeah, I'm so freaking good. I'm a prodigy, right? I'm a sales prodigy. I'm making like 30, 40 grand a month now. Like, I'm untouchable. And then I listened to like
Seafood Junior.
Seafood Junior, yeah. But then I listened to like Eli Wild's trainings. I listened to Jeremy Miners. I listened to, I was like, damn, these guys are like head and shoulders above me.
Mm.
I'm like, then like the ego starts dissipating. You're like, okay, you know what? I'm always a student of this game. So I think it's these three things. Because ego, to me, is like the number one killer of these three things. Because if you have a big ego as a sales guy, like you could make it, but you would never hit your full potential. So like, yeah.
See, it's interesting. See, with you ever play sports?
Yeah.
What sports did you play?
I was actually a competitive track and field athlete for my state in Malaysia when I was young, and I played soccer too.
Okay.
Yeah. How about you?
I played soccer.
Oh, cool.
I played soccer my whole life. I played
nice.
in hockey. You grow on skates too. You know, you grow up on skates.
Yeah, Kylo plays a lot of soccer.
Okay.
You guys should play in Vegas. I'll come and join you guys for a match.
Do you play?
He plays a lot. Didn't you play did you play college? Oh, okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but he told me a lot. We talk a lot of soccer players all the time.
Nice, man.
Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah, I spent time. Yeah, I played my whole life. I played in.
Nice. Did you play for like the Whitecaps, like the reserves and stuff?
Dude, I did play college.
You did play college.
I did play college.
Which college?
In
Alberta or in BC?
in BC, yeah, in BC. So there's different levels, right? So in the US we have like it's like division
D3, D2, D1. Yeah.
In Canada there's only like there's only like one or two teams that are in the NCAA.
Oh.
There's like whole other separate leagues.
Gotcha.
So that I played in basically the Canadian leagues.
Okay, nice. It's still good. Yeah.
And then I played in anyways. I played soccer my whole life. It was my sport.
Yeah. I can talk about soccer. That's why I keep asking you about soccer. I love soccer.
So get this, right?
Yeah.
So in soccer, there's a player, the number 10.
Yeah.
Called, right?
Yeah.
And he's the striker.
Yep.
He's the guy who's
playmaker,
the playmaker. Yep. He's selfish.
Yeah.
He gets the ball. He's gonna charge towards goal and shoot and score.
Correct.
He's a Messi.
He's gonna make the plays happen.
Yes,
yep.
exactly.
Neymar, Messi. Yep.
Neymar.
Yeah. Modric, De Bruyne.
Ruud van Nistelrooy was another one. Right. You have the he played for United years ago.
Mm-hmm.
But these are the guys that typically will take a team. You'll put them on a team. They're selfish. Messi's what I hear a great guy, but many times they're selfish. They have egos. They're the ones at the clubs. They're the ones getting in fights.
Mm-hmm.
But they're the guy who makes the team.
Yeah, they make results. They get results.
So in a sales team, I've had guys on my team that are like this, and girls too. I've had them, and they perform.
They're great.
But then there's a certain point when they become a cancer.
Yes.
And so if you're running a sales team, and you've got
so well said,
you've got this number 10 in the team.
Yeah.
Are you gonna have them be a part of the team, or are you gonna maybe?
Yeah, that's such a great leadership question. I love this because we could talk about this for days. I had the same experience as you. Like, dang, we got this top performer who's outperforming every other sales guy, but like, he's a bit toxic. Do we fire him? No, that's not the best move. Do we keep him in a box? Right. So we had these conversations with my leadership team for years, and I think we sort of found. I don't think that's like a perfect answer, but we found a really good solution for people like that, those number 10s. We find that in better way, because when you're a top performer, the whole team knows. The whole team knows. So they know like this person's good, right? So they typically like the rest of the team knows. And so what we do is we literally have to do like a balancing act. So what I do, for example, is like on Mondays, we have our all hands meeting. So if all the closer and the setters come on, right, we'll still make the top performer jump on, right? But then for everyone else on the team who's like a B or C player, who's not an A player yet, they go through mandatory training. And so for the A player, that maybe that Messi or maybe that 10 who's like a bit more a lone wolf and not really a team player, as long as they're getting results, we won't mandate and force and make them do a bunch of stuff as long as they're getting results. So we kind of like, I guess we make concessions to them, but again, it's super transparent to the whole team. Everyone knows, and they also know the standard. The moment they slip, they go back right into mandatory training. So we do things like that. As long as your CPB or cash per booking is above this, as long as your conversion rate is above this, okay, fine, you can skip these things. But the moment it drops, you're back to role plays. You're back to training. And they hate it, and then they don't get there. So we find like a balance, I guess, to manage these top guys. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, that's good. That's good feedback for sure. I've heard, Jeremy Miner for one's talked about before the isolation island.
Yeah.
Where you take them. I don't think he called it that. That's my interpretation.
Nice. You box them up.
Yeah, you box them up. Like
leave them to himself. Yeah, but I still like them being part of the team because they do provide value to the team, and the team's always like striving for more. They see that top guy and they want to get there.
And their sales calls, the ones that they're probably watching the recorded calls of, and look, so that's cool. So that's how you kind of handle that.
And one more is just like always chipping on their ego. So like just because someone has an ego today, a big ego today, doesn't mean they'll have that forever. At least what I believe, right? I mean, some people just naturally will be hard-headed like that, but I'm always selling people, right? So I'm always like, hey, Mr. Top Guy, you're good, but you know how you could be better? Da 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 da. Man, if only you did da 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 da. Right? If only you were a bit more like a team player. Just how much more you could. So I'm always like selling them, and I can see over time they do change. Not everybody, but few do actually change, and then they become really good mentors, sales mentors for the teams.
That's cool. So that would be like handling an individual person.
Yes.
What do you do to like your bread and butter, you called it, is in sales.
Yes.
Right. So when you're taking over, let's say you're going to work with a team, a company that doesn't have an optimized sales team. What are the first areas you go to optimize? What does that look like?
Gosh, yeah. Funny enough, one of the first things we optimize is the comp plan, because the comp plan is so easy to optimize. And literally, I've seen horrible comp plans when they get re-optimized and rejigged. The whole team performs 25% better without any extra training or changes to the team, just because the comp is aligned to their incentives. So like the first thing we do is like look at the commission structure. Does it make sense? Who gets the base salary? Why? How are the setters paid, right? So first we'll fix that, because that's like an easy low-hanging fruit. And then we go into, these days I do a lot of, I do in the beginning when I work with a client, I do like one-on-ones with as many people as I can to figure out what is the cancer or what are the toxic things or processes in the system. So I'm more of a systems, I optimize the macro first before I go micro. So I just like have almost like an interview with everybody, like, what do you like about this company? What do you not like? Okay, what do you not like? Tell me. And if like 6 people tell me the same thing, we hit that first. So it's really like interviewing and then figure out what are like the top 3 not working, and then we'll fix these things first. And then the sales team feels like, oh my gosh, these people listen to me for the first time in 3 years. I feel listened to. Morale's high. Oh, they actually fixed that. Morale's high. So it's like not even training. It's like just making them feel heard.
What's a winning comp plan look like?
So it really depends on what you're trying to achieve. Like, I would say I love sliding scale performance-based comp plans. So like, you know how people typically pay closers 10% of cash collected? I like 8 to 12. So what I mean is like 10 is like the standard, but 8% if you don't hit a certain, let's say a cash collected number a month, but then also we can go to 12 if you like double. So I love that because it's so simple. Everyone understands it, and it's purely based on numbers. So you fluctuate from 8 to 12 in a given month instead of getting 10. That's like one of my favorites. I just literally implemented it for a client 3 days ago. Oh no, 4 days ago before the weekend. So I always go back to that. And then we do like bonuses, and then we do incentives, right? But for a commission base, I think sliding scale on a cash collected metric is pretty good.
Got it. Yeah, I think what have you seen as like the highest comp plan in this kind of coaching industry? Have you seen people pay 25, 30%?
I've seen people pay 25, 20%, yeah. I've tried that. I've tested it with Dan, actually. It's funny, like, I don't know whether you've had the same experience, but people typically pay closers more percentage of cash, and then they pay setters like 1 to 3%, right?
Sure.
We've actually tested a different model. It was interesting. We put the setters at like 20%, and then we put the closers at like 5%. But the funny thing was the setters ended up being the more experienced closers to become setters, if that made sense. They became more like full cycle closers.
Okay. They set and close their own deals.
And then the closers were like, it was kind of weird because I think it would have worked if we just made a full cycle closing team instead of like setter closer. We don't really need that. So that model would have worked if we just made every closer do outbound and inbound. And if they wanted to, they were good, right? Yeah, but that was interesting. We did a test for like 6 months on that.
So the coaching industry, high ticket closing world, it kind of goes through cycles, right? And the industry seems to do what they get sold on doing. So I'll give you an example. There was a guy named Ty Lopez, obviously you know who he is, who came in and he kind of he introduced this idea of SMMA. That was one of his big things. But he was teaching a model. It was just kind of like the first guy to be running ads at scale in kind of this modern internet age.
Yeah.
Right. preceding him, the kind of the big guy that people talk on is Sam Ovens.
Mm-hmm.
And then Dan Lok was kind of just after Sam a little bit, but Sam came in and he was teaching ads to VSL,
Correct.
to
Like the first funnel.
book a call.
Yeah.
Then he kind of has faded out, and then Cole Gordon's been pretty instrumental, and he came in and he's teaching like the setter closer model.
Correct.
And
the 2-step, right?
Yeah. 2-step, exactly. So the thing is the marketplace gets sold that, hey, this is the thing that's working now, whether or not I believe that everything works all the time. There's no one or there's things that work better
For sure.
but marketplace, probably what everyone's doing is probably what you don't want to do.
Right.
Where do you think we're moving with this kind of industry? What do you think the opportunity lies?
So I'm glad you asked, because a lot of my research in the past 6 months has been studying a lot of corporate enterprise type businesses. So I took a deep, and I mentioned this to you, right? I'm going to Asia and I'm taking a company public there, like a sales company public. And it's dealing with only corporate enterprise businesses, SMEs, like no coaching businesses, right? But what's interesting, I bet if you ask Cole, or you looked at any of these coaching, I guess, sales trainers or marketer gurus, they take a lot of trends from corporate, but we're like 5 years behind. I'll give you an example. If you looked at corporate sales 30, 40 years ago, there was only the account executive role. And account executives back then were full cycle account executives. The SDR position was invented recently in the past 30 years.
Dude, that's smart, bro.
We looked at it and we realized, okay, the coaching industry is quite a few 10, maybe 5, 10 years behind the corporate world. But look at what corporate's doing now. So this is very fascinating, because if you look at what corporate's doing now, you will see how it affects coaching.
So just to tap into that, right, for anyone that's listening, because this is a really valuable point here. So what Joel's saying here is that if you get on with the enterprise level, like let's say solution or software, you're going to have a call with someone who's going to qualify you before setting you with the right rep. And they'll route you to either a sales rep that deals with, let's say $5 million companies, $10 million companies, whatever it is.
Correct.
But that's a newer thing. That wasn't done 50 years ago.
Nope. Yep. Back then it was full cycle A to Z, and they had what they called their little Rolodex of clients. And they were like full cycle relational selling. And so when you looked at when corporate companies introduced the SDR position or the BDR position, so sales development rep position, or the business development rep position.
They're the same thing, right?
Yeah, same thing.
Okay.
It was basically, and this is interesting, this is my hypothesis, right? And I've read some research about it. Enterprise companies couldn't find enough talented full cycle AEs anymore. The top ones were hired by the biggest companies that gave them the biggest paychecks. They wouldn't move. So the market was left with inferior junior account executives who couldn't do outbound, who were afraid to do cold calling, who didn't know how to do prospecting. So they were forced to invent a new position called the SDR BDR. And that's when the 2-step happened in corporate, like 30 years ago. But if you look at what happened, like if you look at the past 3 years in corporate enterprises in the US, they're going back, and it's always a cycle. They're going back to full cycle AEs again.
Why?
I think business works in cycles. But like you said earlier, right? When you come up with this full cycle thing, then you get a 2-step thing, and then this thing is the hot thing and it's working, and it's like, well, this is now better. But I also think if I had a choice, I would always pick a team of full cycle closers than a 2-step. If I had a choice, like give me let's assume all
apples
my talent,
apples
to apples, talent's good, I would pick a full cycle closing team any day of the week.
Why?
Because they're not fat cat. Because closers are not fat cat. They're not waiting for inbound, waiting for appointments.
The calendar to be booked, right?
They're like sitting there like, oh, okay, book me. Oh, I can't do anything today, guys. I got six no-shows today. I'm just gonna go to the gym. Like, bro, like what are you doing? You're not even sales guy. You're an order taker, right? Sometimes. So I don't like the fat cat mentality. My good friend Jeremy Haynes, he says fat cat, right? I don't like the fat cat mentality. So that's also one of the reasons why. But I also believe one of the biggest pros of full cycle closing or sales is the fact that you become a much more relational type closer. And that goes a long way. Like when I put myself in a sales rep's shoes, I much rather be a relational sales professional than a transactional one, because if you're a relational one, I could take my business, my book of business, anywhere I go in the future. So it doesn't matter if I work at this company for 5 years and 3 years and 2 years. If I'm in the same industry and I sell good solutions, I have a Rolodex of business I can take on for the rest of my career. But if I'm a transactional, inbound only closer, closing book appointments, I might be less likely to develop those relationships.
Yeah, so full cycle closer is, is someone who's building a better skill set, number one.
100%.
More valuable enterprises. And, the truth is like I if any of my reps are listening to this, I'm sorry, but, to show up and take a calendar, that is a replaceable skill.
100%.
But the person who's nurturing someone through the whole process,
incredible.
Yeah, it's valuable. Or someone who can go to the store, connect with someone. If you're bringing the lead and the deal, we compensate them way more.
Yeah.
But that's a real sales.
Yeah.
That's valuable.
Yeah. And then they ascending them too, right? After the first product to the second product service. Yeah. That's all the skill. Like you said, it's definitely a higher barrier to entry to become a full cycle account executive. And I think that's why a lot of people don't want to do that. And that's why they had to create all these entry level sales positions. And yeah, it makes sense, entry level, but does it really, when you could just be really damn good at what you do? When I first started, it's funny because when I first learned from Dan Lok, we were taught to be fat cat, inbound only, right? And it was a marketing thing, right? Hey, we're gonna book calls to your calendar. You just sit there and take 8 calls a day, make money. But then I realized, when I made my first $40,000 month in commissions, it wasn't from inbound. Half of it was inbound, but half of it was from nurturing and I call it farming, reviving dead leads and sequencing and pipeline building. So I had so many sales from previous months pop in that same month. That's why my paycheck was so big. Had I not done that, I would have only made $20K, which is fine, but it's inbound only. Then I realized this is a new level to the game. This is a new skill set. I gotta learn both. Then I got good at both, right? That's what happened to me personally.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah.
Now, one thing that you've done is you've recovered millions of dollars from people through what you call lead farming.
Sales farming.
Sales farming.
Yeah.
You just mentioned it briefly here. So what I understand that to be is you take someone's dead list where they're like, yeah, this is just, we already milked it. There's nothing left here, and you find opportunity.
Correct.
What does that look like? How are you doing that? And why do companies pay you so much to make it happen?
Yeah. Let me answer the last question first. I think companies pay us so much because, first of all, it's a no-brainer to them when we do a rev share deal. It's like free money, right? If we don't make any sales, you don't pay us anything. And so I think that's the first thing. People, it's an irresistible offer. Like Hormozy would say, it's an easy sale, right? And then the truth is, a lot of people, I think it's a skill thing too, a levels to the game. Some people just don't have the skills to squeeze that much juice from their list. They just haven't done it well enough. They just haven't done it long enough. Whereas we've done it for 4 or 5 years now with different coaching clients. We know the copy. We know what works. We know how to make the sales team do it with us. We know how to train the sales team to do it. Everything falls hand in hand. Yeah, but the mechanics of it is simple, right? It's really writing. And so I'll explain to you, there's 2 pillars to sales farming. It's very simple. There's 2 pillars. The first pillar is a software. You need a software that can help you contact leads simultaneously through different platforms. So email, voicemail drops, text messages. Because, for example, if I just called you today like a telemarketer, you would see my phone number and probably block me. If I called you and texted you, you probably look at it. If I called you, texted you, emailed you, you'd be like, okay, what's going on? But if I called you, texted you, emailed you, Facebook DM you, IG DM, LinkedIn DM you, you'd be like, gosh, this guy's crazy, right? But you pay more attention. But what happens now if I make it so personal that you feel like I only reached out to you today? But in reality, I reached out to 1,000 other people. I just made it sound like I reached out to you. So now our increase in open rates, increase in response rates go through the roof. We beat, it's so funny. I had a client, they're an agency, SMMA company. They teach copy, they teach email marketing. We beat their internal copy 3x their open rate. They were getting 20% open rate, which is decent. We got 60% on the same list. But it's because of the subject lines we write, the copy, right? So that's what we do. And that's why it's effective. So that's the first pillar, software. Then second pillar is the copy. Effective copy plus the sales team, right? Doing calls and voicemails.
Okay. Yeah. Nice, man. Very cool. So with that being said, you'll take the list and you'll literally just do everything? Or are you integrating with their current systems and
Yeah,
software
good
there?
question. It really depends what infrastructure the client has. Some people, they don't have a sales team. So what we'll do then is we'll just send it to like a webinar or send it to their live event where they do the closing, where they do the sales, or we send it to like a checkout page, right? Ideally, we like working with sales teams because number one, we know the offer is proven. Number two, we know that the sales team is selling it on a consistent basis. And number three, we know it's in the game of numbers. If we put bookings on your rep's calendar, there's going to be a conversion percentage that they'll close something. So we know that it's going to be sales. So then our job is just to stack it with volume, right? The one thing, though, I would say the one downside to sales farming is you really can't control the lead quality that much. You can. Like, we can make it really strict, but if we make it too strict, then we're going to lose a lot of potential sales. So it really depends on it depends on the reps. How good are they at sales, right? If they're like order takers, then it's probably not going to be as effective as if they were like actually selling and like using their skills, you know? Yeah.
So you mentioned Hormozi,
Yeah.
right? Alex Hormozi. You know, he's popped off the last couple of years. Super impressed with what he's been able to do. That said, who are like the sales leaders right now that the people who are looking for someone to look up to are doing, you think, a good job of?
Yeah. You know, I think my two good friends, Jeremy Miner for sure, and then Eli Wild. I learned a ton from Eli. I think I credit Eli to a lot of my sales development. He doesn't know it. I mean, I tell him this all the time, but he didn't know it before. But I was watching a bunch of his training videos when he used to help Cole Gordon, when Cole Gordon was still the sales director at Traffic and Funnels. And I remember Eli would come in and do these trainings, and I would we bought access to some of Traffic and Funnel stuff, and I would always watch Eli's trainings, and he's really good. And then obviously, you know, Miner's NEPQ, right? And Matt Ryder and that 7th level team is really good too. I think that's also like Andy Elliott is popping up these days, right?
Yeah,
His former
Andy.
sales. Yeah, Andy's cool.
You said former sales?
Sorry, former?
You said Andy Elliott, but
Oh no, like I'm saying Andy Elliott is like popping up these days too, right? His stock is rising as well.
yeah.
But I think who I like would be, I think I like Eli and Jeremy still to this day.
What do you think about Grant Cardone?
I personally don't enjoy his style. I've purposely we've like funnel hacked their stuff so much. Like we used to buy like wristbands from their shop and then get like 30 calls in a week. We just do that to see how they would do it. I give his team a lot of credit for the aggression and the intensity, but when you get them on the phone, it's obvious they're trying to sell you. They're not actually building a relationship with you. Like the way we would do it, so I teach a framework called the emotional selling process. It's a 10-step framework that I created. I'm sure it looks similar to what you might see online, but I've made it as a synthesis of everything I've learned in the past 7 years from all these different people. And what I teach is really emotional manipulation. And okay, I want to caveat this. What I teach works really well for B2C offers. When you're selling to coaching to like individuals, does not work as well for B2B, okay? But what I teach is literally leveraging emotions and pain and goals to manipulate someone to give you their money. And so like that stuff, Grant doesn't do much. I think he's more like they talk fast, they're hard selling. I think they're very they're good at looping. They're good at looping and asking for the sale. They don't give up, they're relentless. But they don't do a lot of the emotional stuff. I love the emotional stuff. That's a funny that's a good saying. Do you know of a guy called Dave Van Hoos?
Mm-mm.
He teaches like Sell from Stage, one of the OGs, and he did like back in the day like the big 100,000 conferences in the US, 100,000 people, and they would all sell courses and stuff. Like celebrities would be speaking there and stuff like that. Like the former presidents would be there, and he said a saying, and it goes, "Tears brings the dollars. When people cry, they end up buying." So that's kind of like one thing I adopt is like, how can I get someone so emotional that their only option is to buy the solution, right? And that's not what Grant does, at least in my book. He doesn't do that. He doesn't go into that deep of emotion.
What do you think the like you used the word manipulate?
Yes,
It's a very strong word.
that's a good point.
Yeah. So I would imagine you have a meaning behind it.
Yes.
That's different than what the
Yes.
common perception of the word
Yes,
is.
every time I say that word, people would like to correct me. When I say manipulate, they're like, no, you mean persuade. I'm like, no, I mean, no. And I say manipulation because I think connotation-wise, people think manipulation is always negative. But I think the word manipulate is just like the word money. What is money? Money is paper. Money is a tool. Money has no inherent good or bad in itself. You can use money for bad. You can use money for good. The word manipulate to me you could say persuade. I think manipulate is just a stronger word. You can manipulate people for good or for bad. I think it depends on the intent of how you're coming across. Because the reason why I say manipulate is because a lot of people, and you know this to be true with prospects, especially coaching prospects, they've all decided many years ago that they wanted to be successful. No one on this planet wants to live a miserable life, okay? If you give everyone a choice, they all want success. Number one, most people are not willing to take the risk because they're scared. Or number two, they're not willing to put in the work. But here's the thing. If I know that you've already made the decision to be successful and you're just afraid to cross this bridge, I'm going to do whatever it takes to get you across the bridge. So if it means manipulation, it's manipulation. If it means persuasion, it's persuasion. If it means I got to push you, I got to push you. Right? If I got to pull you, I got to pull you. Like, it's whatever it takes. And that's why I use the word manipulate, because it's a stronger word in my book, in my opinion.
So you're arguing that if you believe that your path to the person, getting the path across the bridge is the best path, you're going to do whatever it takes to help that person get across the bridge?
Because ethically, that is my moral responsibility, yes, 100%. Because they're going to pull themselves back. They're going to choose to stay in their comfort zone. It's normal for every human to do that. We don't want to invest money. That's a risk. We don't want to take that workout in the morning because it's raining and it's, it's all that. But it's like, dude, like, you wanted to lose weight. You told me that. You want to be successful. You told me that. How can I help you get there? And sometimes it requires manipulation. Some people, they're easy. Yeah, I'm a go-getter. Yeah, Joel, tell me to do whatever, I'll do it. All right, good. Those guys are easy. But there are some people that will hide in the corner and they're like, oh, I'm so tired today. Oh, I don't want to do it. Oh, it's too. That's where you have to use different tactics to get them to cross the bridge.
So that's your philosophy on Grant. What about Hormozi? Have you read his book, $100 Million?
Yeah, I read both. Actually, it's cool. The 100 minutes. So that's a video clip. Hormozi posted it on his social media too once. And back in September last year in Vegas, there was a conference with Ryan Pineda. And I was front row, and I met Hormozi the night before. We had a cool photo, like, in person together. At that event, he had his book, The 100 Million Offers. He basically autographed it and showed people how he could sell this book from, like, that was worth, like, $20, how he could make the value worth $100K. He did a great demonstration, and then he threw the book to me. So I have one of the copy of, like, Hormozi's autograph book, and he texted me. Well, I asked him a few months ago. He said, yeah, this is still one of 5 copies that have my autograph, right? But anyways, I've read his books, and I mean, I like it. I like the way he sells too. Like, I watch his videos on sales and, like, I resonate with it, It's very consultative, but he's very good at consequential questions, right? He's, like, very good at takeaways, and I really appreciate those.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. So that's kind of like, dude, your trajectory and what you established, and it's cool to see you're making moves as now diving in with companies. What's on the horizon for you, and what's next with this next year, 2024?
Yeah. So exactly, well, in a week from now, I will be in Malaysia. So I'll be off North America. I'll be back in my home country. Different city though, not in the same city where I grew up. Thank God. I always believe in not being in an environment, right, that doesn't allow me to grow. And so not to shit on my hometown or anything like that, but it's just a small pond, right? And so like where I'm in Malaysia, it's bigger, it's a capital, but we're actually going to take whatever we've done in the coaching space in the past 7 years. But instead of, like, here's how I feel playing the coaching world. I feel like I have to be a level 8 or 7 every day to get my clients' results. But when I was working with Asian clients, I could literally I was like, when we teach them level 8 stuff, they can't take it. It's just way too much. The level 3 stuff, they get amazing results with it. So what I'm doing is I'm going to Asia. I'm going to these corporate companies. I'm going to teach them what we've done. Funnels, marketing, sales teams, right? All this stuff, VSLs, right? And we just need a little bit of it to inject a whole ton of growth, whole ton of fuel and firepower, right, to their sales. And so that in itself will be an agency, a company that we're going to take. We have a timeline. We have an 18-month deadline to get that company to about let's just call it $1 million profit after tax number, so it can go public in Malaysia. We have 18 months to do that, basically. And then we can go public. The benefit of that is $1 now becomes worth 15 when you go public. And then we can acquire and eat up all the other local smaller companies and just start playing the M&A game or the private equity game. Yep. So that's what's next.
Okay. Is that going to be a one step in a larger vision, or what's the?
Yeah. I'm definitely coming back to, like North America, the whole coaching space, and even the enterprise space here. Like I've never been in enterprise or corporate in America, right? I can't say I've been to I can't say I've consulted like Amazon or Walmart. Like I haven't done that at all. And I feel like for me right now in the coaching space to transition there, it's going to take me a lot more time. But if I do it in Asia and we take companies that are public and they're successful and we sold them and we exited them and I come back to America with a great story, then I think it's an easier way for me to enter the private equity markets in North America, to enter enterprise companies in North America. So the goal is to come back because the big money, the big markets are here. Yeah.
Cool, dude. This has been good, man. Anything else you wanted to share or talk about?
No, man. Thanks for your time. It's been a pleasure.
Cool.
It was really cool knowing. I didn't know you were from Vancouver, Canada, or from Vancouver, from Calgary.
I lived in several places in Canada, but I was born in Vancouver.
Okay, so you're born and raised in BC.
Yeah,
nice.
Exactly.
Which part of Vancouver?
Dude, I grew up in Deep Cove. Which is North Van. Vancouver.
Okay.
And then I went to high school in West Van, right, close to.
Oh, okay. Is that where you play soccer?
Yeah, yeah, I did. I did,
yeah.
yeah. And I played, I went to high school very close to Dan Lok's place. So.
In Mathers Avenue.
Yeah, was he on Mathers?
Yeah, is it Mather? Yeah, Mathers Avenue. Yeah.
That.
Oh, what's that little village called? Oh God, that little strip. Dundrave. Yeah, Dundrave. Dude, we used to live at that. I used to live. No, I didn't live.
Ambleside.
Definitely stayed a few weekends, a few nights in that mansion.
Oh, at his place?
At the Mathers Avenue.
Yeah. Mathers. Yeah.
Mathers. Yeah. We stayed.
Nice.
Yeah. Dundrave Village. Yep. Yeah. That's cool, man.
Dude, thanks for coming on. We'll put all your information below if you want to check out or follow him. Definitely do. And then, go ahead and leave him a note and say thanks for adding so much value and teaching us how to be amazing at sales. And if you're an enterprise level corporation and the year is 2026, he's probably back in the United States ready to consult you. So thanks for being here.
Yeah, thank you, Dylan. All right. Appreciate your time, man. Thanks. All right, cut. Sweet.